In this particular video, we're going to look at chat models in Langchain. So the difference between chat models and the normal completion large language models in Langchain is that chat models provide a chat interface to the user, which basically means that it takes a collection of messages as input and outputs messages, whereas normal large language models are completion models, which basically means that they take a single piece of text as input and outputs the corresponding piece of text. So the first step is to set up the environment by installing important libraries. The next step is to basically import the OpenAPI key, which in my case is stored in creds.json file. So chat OpenAI class is the class in Langchain which basically provides us with chat model capabilities. So we're instantiating that class over here. And so there are different types of messages which are supported currently, which is the system message, human message, and AI message. Now, system message can be thought of as an instruction to the model, which it needs to follow in order to produce an output. Human message is the input that the user provides. And finally, AI message is the output message from the model. So the chat model can take in any number of messages as input. So for simplicity, in this particular case, we are passing in the human message, which has content. For example, translate the sentence from English to Hindi. I love data science. And the output is its corresponding AI message. Now, the other case could be where we pass system message and human message as input to the chat model. And so as you can see over here, system message is some sort of an instruction, that is, you are a helpful assistant that translates English to Hindi. And human message is the input from the user stating I love data science. And finally, the AI message is the translation output from the model. Now, the other way we could leverage chat models is through the generation capability or the generate method that it offers, where we basically pass a collection of messages as input, and the output that we get is a more complete response. So we not only get the translation output, but we also get a summary of the token usage. That is, how many total tokens were utilized and what is the model name. So GPT 3.5 Turbo is the default model that the OpenAI class uses in Langchain. Now, the first feature that we look at specifically for chat models is caching. So caching essentially allows us to save money as it reduces the number of calls that we make to these models. And it also makes the application much faster as you're reducing the number of calls. So there are two types of caches. One is the in-memory cache, which stores all of the tokens in memory. So let's look at the difference in the execution time when we run the same input twice. So it takes about 3.8 seconds when you run the input who is the most famous author the first time, and the execution time is much shorter when we run the same input again. The other way where we could leverage leverage cache is through the SQLite database. Prompt templates are a reproducible way of generating prompts. So for the system message, we have the system message prompt template. For human message, we have the human message prompt template. And for the AI message, we have the AI message prompt template. Now all of these different prompt templates build up and make the chat prompt template that we basically pass to the chat model. So over here we have the system message. This over here we have the template which we use to make up the system message prompt template with two input variables, that is input language and the target language. And then we have the human message prompt template which has only the input has only one input variable, that is the input that we will basically get from the user. Now chat prompt template is made up of the system message prompt template and the human message prompt template. And finally we pass the input variables at runtime to the chat prompt object for inference. So let's just quickly run this. And the output that we get is the AI message. Now some chat models provides streaming response. So instead of waiting for the entire response to be returned from the model, we can use the output that we have uh, and do some processing over it, or provide that particular output to the user as soon as it's being generated. So we need to do two things over here. One is to set streaming equals true, and also use the streaming stdout callback handler. And so once we initiate that chat model object, we can basically pass the human message, that is write me a song about Google, and the output that will be produced will be streamed. And so I believe this might have a lot of benefits. That is the streaming feature when we are essentially building an application that needs to provide the output in a streaming fashion. For example, a chatbot. And so thank you for watching the video. See you all in the next one.